Welcome back to SnowRunner. You join us today on Island Lake with the Pacific P16 and we're currently at the log station on Island Lake. Now, this mission we started in the last episode aimed at the island, had 4 deliveries to do. We've done 2 of them and we've got the final 2 deliveries today. The 2 deliveries in the last episode was the medium logs to the workers' house, which was a really simple one that we did from Smithfield Dam, and the second job was medium logs to the lighthouse keeper on Drummond Island as well. Another easy, simple job. The only difference there, we changed vehicle. We started with the Fleet Star. It struggled, so we changed to the Pacific P16, and we've brought it back to Island Lake today. Now the plan is, we've got 2 deliveries to do, but both to the same place. This is where this could get a bit tedious and a bit frustrating, just because it's the same job, same route every time. We're going to try and change up the route on the second journey a little bit, but there's only so much you can change a journey when you're both going to the same place. So today we've got to take medium logs to the farm on Drummond Island. I don't know if you know where we're going. The farm on Drummond Island is where we're heading. Fairly simple one. We just need to get to the tunnel on Island Lake, cross over into Drummond Island, and then drive through most of it to get to the farm. I don't expect any problems. The Pacific P16, as we've used it previously, is a very strong vehicle. And the big reason we changed it in the last episode, if you haven't seen that, was because the Fleet Star was struggling, not just through this boggy terrain on Island Lake, but just in general. It was just not being able to pull the weight of the logs. Whereas the Pacific P16 for me is kind of a heavy worker. I feel like this is easy work for it potentially, and also what it's probably used to doing in my eyes. And in the last episode it proved it could do pretty well. It did have some moments on hills. I mean, used the winch, and I expect that again today. But I don't expect that to be difficult, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it went really well last episode, and I didn't want to put all 4 deliveries in one episode because you'd be over an hour and a half roughly in total, and that's getting rid of the return journey. We won't be showing the return journey from Drummond Island back to Island Lake to pick up the next load because we're doing the same route again. It's kind of silly. So I didn't want to have an hour and a half episode, so I split into 2, and then this one, it's the same job twice. So let me know what you think in the comments. When it's got the same job twice, should we show the whole job? I know people have said, oh, I want to see your planning, you know, your journeys and all this, and I get that, but when it's the same job, like especially log deliveries, when it's the same route, the same delivery point with the same vehicles, should we show it all, or should we kind of strip it back and show one journey instead of 2 or 3? Because I'm sure there's going to be jobs in the future where it's a logging mission, we've got to take logs from one place to another 3 times, and unless we're using different vehicles to vary it, and sometimes we can't, as we proved in the last episode, but I'll talk about that in a second, you know, is it really worth doing it? The only difference we are going to do this time is the journey out of Island Lake. When we do the second load, I'm going to try and make a different route, just to vary up really more than anything else. This route we've kind of gone along the boggy terrain, and then we're going to go down onto the main road, track, mud path, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a road to be honest, but a drier area that's less boggy. We're going to go and do that, whereas I think next time my plan is to head straight to the main road bit, which is straight down from where we're picking up the logs, and then across that the whole way. Just to vary it really. It's one of the things I wanted to try and do, just to change out how we're doing it. I expect the second time to be easier, quicker maybe, but I'm not too sure on that. But yeah, in talking about vehicles and carrying medium logs, so in the last episode we looked at I looked away from the episode at vehicles that can carry medium logs directly on their backs. It sounds weird saying that, but it is essentially what they're doing. And the only vehicle that could was the GMC. So we put the log carrier on the back of it, and it was so top heavy we nearly lost the load quite a few times. We gave it the easiest route, which was to the worker's house, but still we nearly lost the load. So that was a no-go, and we now know never to do that again with the GMC. Whereas we put a trailer on the back for the Fleet Star to pick up the second load, and we know the Fleet Star's not very good with trailers. So I kind of anticipated there could be a bit of an issue, but I just thought we may be able to do it. All-wheel drive, it should be fine. And we struggled, especially through this kind of terrain, whereas the jobs it's done previously on Island Lake haven't been an issue. So I think it is the trailer pulling. If you've got something directly on the Fleet Star's back, I've said it's no end of time, I'm sure, but if you put something directly on the back of the Fleet Star, it's absolutely fine. It's when you put something as a trailer on the back of it, it becomes more difficult. So maybe smaller jobs are probably more suited now to the Fleet Star. I don't want to get rid of it. I love the vehicle. It's one of the first vehicles we used to get through the majority of the game in Black River. So I don't want to just put it to the side and let it retire. There's still some jobs to do on Drummond Island where we need to pick things up. Things that have been lost. I think there's oil barrels there, and there's some on Smithfield Dam as well. So we will be using the Fleet Star again. But logging wise, I think it's probably done. Its logging journeys for its career currently. That could change in the future. We know it's capable of doing long logs because we did that on Black River, but it did struggle, and we don't really need to use it for that anymore because we've got these bigger, heavier vehicles that I think will do better with the long logs in carriers anyway. There's no point using it really small when we've got the ability to use others now where we didn't previously. That's kind of my thinking. But yeah, back to today and what we're doing. Going off on a massive tangent. These journeys kind of get you thinking of different things as we're just trying to navigate the corner. That's the downside of the Pacific P16. Its turning radius is really bad. So that can cause issues when you've got tight turnings. Generally, it's the only bad point I can think of the Pacific P16, to be fair. Could we change? I don't know if we could change its tyres. I'm trying to think back now when we first got it. Is it one of the vehicles you can't change tyres? It might be this one, or it might be the Fleet, not the Fleet Star, Twin Steer. I can't remember which one. One of them you can't change tyres, I think. I know you can't change the back on the Twin Steer as well. I may have got the names completely mixed up there, actually. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, Pacific P16, its biggest issue is turning radius. It's just the turning circle is bad. But you can get around that by taking corners wide enough or reversing a little bit and going again. Other than that, I think the vehicle is one of the best we've got, just because of the pure power it can pull. That's the big thing. I haven't got my spreadsheet up, so I can't have a quick glance to see how it compares to everything else. But you know what I mean. It just, for me, it feels like it's one of our toughest vehicles going. Not necessarily fast, but just full-on brute power. And you can definitely tell the difference now on this part compared to the mud as well. We're on the main road bit now, and we have been for a while, to be fair. I've just been yabbering on, but there's a big difference in how it's acting. And it didn't struggle through the bog, but it's definitely a big difference being on this kind of land than we were out in the bog. And that's why I think the second route we take, this part of it will be a lot quicker, because we're going to head straight for the main road, straight from the off. We haven't been that way for a while, to be fair, thinking about it. But yeah, we're getting there. As I say, mission wise, we're nearly done. We are nearly finished with all the missions in Michigan. I'm looking forward to moving. Obviously I want to get everything done 100% before we leave, which is taking this time. We're on episode 68 for this one, and part of me is wondering whether we're going to actually get to 100 before Michigan, before we leave Michigan. I don't think we will. I think we're just under, because I think we've got one more logging mission to do. And then Drummond Island has a couple of small missions, and Smithfield Dam, Drummond Island, both are small missions. Island Lake is done, so is Black River, and then we've got the contest to do, and that's it. So, depending how big these other missions are, and that final big main mission, which I think is another logging mission as well, depends how long that is, how long it takes to do. We should be out of here within the next, I don't know, 7 or 8 episodes maybe, depending on how long things take and how much I mess up. is really the big thing, isn't it? But yeah, this first journey has gone really quick. We're actually nearly at the tunnel. That's the nice thing about these. You can't just yabber on. I kind of just drift away. Sometimes get really drowsy, but you just chat away and you're done. And I chat away to myself, even if I weren't recording, I'd still be chatting away. But here we are, we're at the tunnel. We can now travel to Drummond Island for the first time today. So we are on Drummond Island. Now, we're just going to look at the route we're going to take. So my thinking is, the usual one, we head up through the trees, nice and simple. we'll head through the log station where we left the Fleet Star. And then we should be able to get up this hill here. That's going to be a dodgy bit, but it should be okay. Round to the petrol station. Always good to fill up as we go past. And then... once that's that, yeah. Round over the bridge. Now, we have been to the farm previously. I think it was once for a mission and that's it. So it's not the easiest bit to get to, from what I remember. That route along that edge there is probably the hardest. But I think that's our route sorted. And we've been through Drummond Island no end of times. I don't anticipate too many problems. I think that getting out of the log station bit up the hill, that's always a bit of an issue with most of our vehicles. We've tipped over a few things there in the past because we took it too quickly or rushed the turning, essentially. I'm not anticipating that issue, but the P16 may struggle to get up the hill a little bit, and that's why we may need to use a winch. Other than that, that run to the farm along that edge banking near the water, I'm vaguely remembering doing it as a mission earlier on in Drummond Island, but my concern is that I think that was quite dodgy with the rocks sticking out and stuff. But I could be wrong. So until we're there, we're not too sure. But we'll see how we go. We're already getting stuck in the mud. I've been saying for so long the P16 is a really strong vehicle, but for some reason we started to get stuck in the mud with some of these heavier loads, and logs obviously do weigh a lot. So I kind of think it's normal for this to happen. It probably would happen no matter what the vehicle, to be fair, or tyres. It's always weird doing these journeys in the dark as well. So I don't skip time. I don't like to try and skip time. My driver is not human. He doesn't have to sleep or anything. But I don't like skipping time. I feel like we've got to do some nighttime runs, otherwise it's just always daytime, and I don't know, it just seems a bit weird for me. So I just choose not to skip time, which means we do get these nighttime runs. It's always nice when you're doing a run, you start off at night and you see the early hours come up and the lights start coming up towards the end of the run, and it's always like, oh, quite nice. But yeah, we do. It does create its own problems nighttime though, because you can't always see everything, any hazards and stuff like that. We just hit a tree stump. Yeah, we did. Up it in high gear. Don't do that. Yeah, didn't see the stump there, and obviously slight issue. We went into it. Only a tiny bit of damage on the engine. It's fine. We weren't exactly going fast, but it's little things like that you don't see as easily in the dark. So there is a reason for doing this in the day, nice and slow. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. Yeah, definitely a reason to do this in the day, so you can see all the hazards essentially. But yeah, for me, it's I like doing stuff at night as well as day. It's just a personal thing. Everyone's got their own way of doing it, haven't they? At the end of the day, and it's just mine. Just got to navigate these abandoned trailers. I don't know who left these there. Someone's just dumped them. Can't have been us, surely. We did speak about this on the previous episode as well, so we asked you guys what we're going to do about a cleaning up episode, essentially collecting all the trailers up and doing it, and we're not going to bother. In fact, unless the trailer's in my way or we're going back somewhere and we can take the trailer, we're probably not going to bother going around selling all the trailers either, because the money we spend is only on upgrades. We don't really spend money because we don't buy trucks. So because of that, I don't really need the money. Which sounds really odd, because in most games I'd be saving like crazy, making sure we take all the trailers back, making sure we've got as much money as possible, just in case we need something. But actually in this, other than upgrades, you don't really need too much money. And now we've got to the point of money's not an issue, because of the amount of missions we've done and the lack of spending, essentially. It's not an issue anymore. So, yes. I was doubting myself whether this was the right turn, to be fair, but it is. Petrol station is here. There we go. I like the fact it's petrol station. There's also a big tanker there that you can take. The big fuel tanker. It's on our right hand side there. You can take that. Take it, but I don't know where we'd need to take it, to be fair. I suppose if you want a fill-up point somewhere else. Maybe the other side of the bridge, potentially. You could take it there and pop it down. But other than that, it's not something we really need, to be fair. Mainly because a lot of our vehicles are quite good on fuel consumption. So we've never really had an issue. Last episode, the Fleet Star was a bit low on fuel before we swapped over to the P16. but it probably would have made it to the fuel station, or it will do now with no load on the back anyway. So yeah, fuel's never really been an issue. We have obviously on Island Lake had some issues with fuel, not on Drummond Island. So interesting, there's a tanker there, but I'm assuming it is just so you can put it across the bridge near the port essentially. Would be my thinking. But for us, it's not been needed really, to be fair. It probably helps that on Smithfield Dam, right at the top where we're coming the other side, Drummond Island, we've got a tanker of fuel there. So easy enough to quickly go and fill up there if need be. Do that side of the map anyway. And there's a fuel station this side, so it's one of those things. I like the fact they put it in. I like the fact it's there. It gives you that choice whether you want to use the tanker, move it, or just use the fuel station that's there anyway. So yeah, it works really well, to be fair. It's one of those observations that I've been thinking of for a little while and just never mentioned, I don't think. But yeah, this is what I like about the maps. And I was reliably informed the other day that there's more DLC coming to Smithfield Dam, to SnowRunner. It's incredible, considering Expeditions is out, and I really want to play Expeditions. We've voted for it a few times on the channel to see whether you guys want it. But the general consensus, and also my thinking, other than my want of playing it, is we need to finish SnowRunner. The problem is they keep adding more DLC. So when are we ever going to finish SnowRunner? That's the thing. You got to think, if this is episode 68, and this is one map, I don't know if the other maps are smaller or less maps and less jobs, don't know. But if we say this goes to episode 75, I haven't added up the maps, but that's 75 episodes roughly per map. That's a lot of time before we even get anywhere near DLCs to then go to Expeditions eventually down the line. There'll probably be a third game out, or a fourth. I don't know how many they've done now. It's a fourth, I think. There's the Mud one as well, isn't there? But there'll be another game out by the time we actually get to Expeditions. But it is, you know, it's one of those things. If I really wanted to play it, I could play in my own time, but I don't really have my own time, so that wouldn't happen either, I suppose. But yeah, it will wait. I'm not, you know, I think having both on the channel would be a bit too much, because this isn't everyone's cup of tea. You know, for a lot of people, they find this boring. It's a driving sim. They're not that. It's not meant for them, and I get that completely. I struggled with Mud Runner, as I've said a few times as well, and I struggled with the actual driving side of it. I don't know why, I just couldn't get the hang of it. Whereas this, I found really easy to do. To get the hang of. Come on, pull us out. A little bit stuck in the mud, but we are moving. We're trying to click on as many trees as possible just to keep us moving. There we go, all good, all gravy. Where was I? I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, some people it's not their kind of thing. So I get, and also on the channel, some people enjoy watching this and some people don't. And you know, that's just a personal preference, isn't it? I go to the channels I go to, and admittedly, recently I've been rubbish. I've not had a chance to go to anyone else's channel and show support and watch their videos and stuff. I've got a load of stuff lined up for other people that I want to watch. I've just not had the time or the energy, especially in the evenings. So I will get to that at some point. It's not easy when you spend 12 hours a day doing YouTube stuff, whether it's streaming, editing, recording. You know, that all takes about 12 hours in every day I do, roughly. And that's with breaks, so I can lay down and kind of rest my back, stop it being horrendously bad as well. So it's that time frame. Then I've got family and stuff. I'd say we do, yeah, no, 12 hours maybe a bit too much. 8 to 12 maybe, roughly. It depends what we're doing, what I've got planned for the day. Obviously a stream in the morning, it's about 3.5 hours. By the time that's all done and all the blurb and stuff is written, you're looking, what, 4 hours probably. And then, yeah, recording can be a couple of hours to 4 hours. It just depends, one, how I'm feeling physically. And that is with rest breaks. So I take an hour for lunch so I can rest my back before I then start editing or doing all that stuff. All the afternoon streams we record in the morning or edit in the morning, and then we have an hour before we start streaming to lay down and try and rest and, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I've been rubbish recently trying to keep up with everyone else's content. I think it's difficult when you're creating content yourself to keep up with other people. When I like to show support, I want to help others as much as possible. But it is so difficult to keep up with everyone, especially when you've got loads of people that want you to go to their channel and view their stuff and give a like and a comment. it is impossible to keep up with everyone. But I'm trying my best. Let's put it that way. And with all that yabbering, I'm actually here. This was a really simple journey, especially through Drummond Island. There was a few little moments in mud. We got a little bit stuck, but other than that, that is job done, or the first part of this done. Annoyingly now, we have to do this journey again. And I can yammer on a little bit more. So we'll see you back on Island Lake in just 1 second. And we're back on Island Lake. It was about 10 minutes or 20 minutes worth of driving back, but you know, that's done. There's no point in showing that. This video would be horrendously long, as the previous one would have been. So we've skipped the driving back. Uneventful, I should say. You know, we've got an empty trailer. This is when I'd like a nice return job. And I think that's what I need to look at next time when we go to other maps. These logging missions are fine. They can be a bit tedious and boring. But I wonder if we can do a return journey with something, potentially. And that's the new route we're going to take. So as I said, we're going to try and take a different route, at least at the start of Island Lake. So we're going to head straight down to the main road, which runs through. And you'll see it, you'll probably recognise it from when we first got here. It's the higher up road that's a lot drier than this area that we're currently on. And once we're there, there should be plain sailing through to Drummond Island, to be fair. It shouldn't be pose too much of an issue if I don't take bad corners like that with that. Just need to make sure we're going the right way. I know we marked it up. I think this is okay. I'm doubting myself now. It's always so easy to be plan a route and then you think, right, am I going the right way? Mainly because I don't place markers every little bit. I like to do generally where you have corners or turnings, so we know which way we've got to go on that turning. Essentially, we are going the right way. We're passing the tower there. But yeah, I like it when there's a turning or a junction, because then I can actually put one where the junction is and one to the way we're going. I know which way to turn. That's how I use them anyway, more than every little bit ahead of me. So it's just a sat nav. Everyone has their own way of using it. I've seen several different people use it all different ways. You know, some won't use it at all. Some place it at important points along the route. Some place it every few meters. Personal preference, isn't it? And I generally, when I know a route, I know it, and that's it. I don't need the blue markers anymore. Occasional look at the map, maybe just to double check on the right track, but other than that, I don't generally use it. Okay, we should be coming up to the main road shortly. This isn't it yet. I don't think I've got one. Now I've just said that, I'm doubting myself. I'm sure we've got to go up before we get there. Because we go on the big hill. I think it's up here. There we go. Yeah. I'm not looking at the map. I'm determined not to. So is that thing. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not looking. I'll get it right no matter what. Here we go. So up the hill. Actually thought we'd struggle up that hill a little bit, but we didn't. So this is now the more main road part of Island Lake. You've seen this on a few times. You can see the speed change in the Pacific P16 there. Obviously we don't go crazy. We haven't got a load of logs on the back. But at the same time, if we can go a little bit quicker, it's always handy. So get a bit stuck there. See the logs, but the trailer of the logs just on the screen. You can just see it bouncing around. I do want to keep looking back at it just to be sure it's still there, but I'm sure it is. I think it is. Yeah, no, we'll be fine. We've had no issues, to be fair. We're not really tipped enough to warrant anything falling out. I think you only have to deliver like 2 or 3 or something for the count as delivery as well of logs, which is weird. I suppose you could. See, there's plenty of ways of cheating the logging missions that people's told me about. Because I mentioned it a few times that logging's a bit boring, it's a repeatable route and all this. And I had a few people message me on Discord and saying, look, there are ways around this. There's mods you can use to make the life easier. One of the suggestions was you take a trailer with a full load, but the vehicle's also got to have a crane on it. You lift a load of logs out, put them on the floor, leave 2 or 3 in, deliver that lot, and it will count as a full delivery. Pick 2 or 3 more logs up, put it back in the trailer that you're using, drive that in, that will count as delivery. I've not tested this, but this is what I was told. And I can see how that would make it less tedious, but also unrealistic, should we say. And I know realism is one of those things where we are being as realistic as possible, but our driver doesn't sleep. Hence, we're now in daytime after doing a nighttime run previously. But at the same time, I want that sense of realism. If you can't physically take a load somewhere, then that's it. You can't do it. You know, I wouldn't give someone free logs. There's your order of logs. That's a full load there. They're not going to go, oh, thank you very much. They're going to go, well, hang on, where's the rest of them? Aren't they? That's the thing. And once they add them all together, when you've done the part deliveries to make up 4 different journeys, well, actually, that's 1 delivery, so you've got 3 to go. That's the way I see it. But yeah, no, thank you to everyone who kind of messaged me and gave me some ways around it. I do appreciate it, and I do think they're quite ingenious, some of them. But for me, I want the realism. It may take longer. It may be frustrating at times, and I may get really drowsy and make mistakes. But at the same time, I'd rather. That's just me. That's just how I like to do things. I don't like to miss anything. I don't like to. It's not really cheap, but I don't really like to play on the system, essentially. If that makes sense. There's a word I was looking for. Cheesed it. That's the word I was after. I know we've cheesed the boss previously on Elden Ring, but although we cheesed accidentally, to be fair. But yeah, I want realism. I do that in most games I play. I try and have it as realistic as possible. Obviously, when you're being beaten up by goblins and stuff, it's not really realistic. But I try and play it as that, and I think I do that in every game near enough, to be fair. It's just a habit, I suppose. It's weird, I'm talking about it, thinking about it at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, it is a bit weird. Just me, unfortunately. But we're making progress. We're not too far to go till we get out of Island Lake with this second load of logs. It is, like I said, I was considering putting music in on the second route just because I knew this was going to be tedious, so I just thought, should we put some music in? I'll just stop chatting. I'll still talk to myself, but I just won't be talking to a mic while doing it. But yeah, no, we'll just do it. It's fine. I can ramble on for ages without anything, so it's not a big deal. And actually, I'm not feeling too drowsy at the minute, so while the drowsiness is laying off, I want to be able to do it properly. It's the drowsiness when I have to record this sometimes at night is the issue. But this isn't a night time recording, so I've kind of got away with the drowsiness a little bit. Doesn't mean it won't hit, but because we've had it in stream a few times, but it should be okay. But yeah, going well so far. As I say, I don't think there's much left to do. We'll have a look at missions before the next episode. Probably want to try and clear some of the side missions that are left in Smithfield Dam and Drummond Island. I think Drummond Island has 2 because we picked one up in the last episode. Cousin Cletus, I think he was. So I think there's 2 side missions there to do. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 in Smithfield Dam. And I think that's it. One main mission after this, and then the contest. I think that's everything. Well, if it's not a big deal, but I'm trying to work out my head. I think that's just about it. The other logging mission, I think, is quite a long one, but I think it's multiple places with different sized logs. I could be completely wrong on that as well. And if it is, that does make life a little bit easier because it's less tedious, less repeatable. So yeah, that does make it really good if it is different lengths and different routes. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's just the repeatable nature of it just kind of bugs me. And to be fair, if you go for the realism side of things, taking 1 delivery somewhere and then having to go back and get a second delivery makes sense. I suppose we could pull a second trailer on the back if you connect, and even that would still probably be realistic, but we can't physically do that. So unless you winch it on the back, but I know we may need the winch for hill climbing. Don't really want to winch something behind us. And using a winch to pull it isn't realistic. We want to be able to connect to the trailer. On that note, we're here. We are ready to go through the tunnel to Drummond Island. We'll see in a sec. We are now on Drummond Island for the very last leg of this mission, and we're nearly done. One last leg to go. So we've done this one already, haven't we, today? So we'll just work our way through. I don't think I need markers. I think we'll try and do it without them. We're heading back to the farm once again, and it should be fairly simple, hopefully. I've I've kind of lost my train of thought what we were doing previously, to be fair. And what we were talking about before we hit the tunnel, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll head to the log station here, and then we'll go up the hill and onto the main road, follow it round, petrol station, quick drop off there to grab some fuel. Drop off, stop off. One of them. And then crack on from there. And as you've seen previously, weren't too bad. And the previous journey was in the dark, so now we get to do this in the daytime, which is a different experience, shall we say. Hopefully we'll see those pesky tree stumps and not hit any this time. Okay, I was a bit close to that edge, I think there. Nearly got a tip. If we get halfway there now and we tip the train, I'll be so annoyed. I'm hoping that won't happen. But yeah, that would be frustrating, I think, if that happened now. Because we're so close as well to being done. But so far so good with no markers. I kind of remember the way we've got to go, so it should be fine. We may need to check the map on some of the turns, maybe. It's the only thing maybe we may need to look at. But all in all, I think this has gone pretty well. As I say, we're going to look at some of the missions next, side missions in the next episode. See what we can get done with Smithfield Dam and Drummond Island. We'll probably stay on Drummond Island actually and do the ones here. I think one's Cousin Cletus and I can't remember the one's called, to be fair. I think there's only two to do. I'll look at that after this episode, it's all good. Right, come on up the hill. This is the only dodgy bit because I was worried on the first leg that the road run up to the farm was really dodgy cliff face. It wasn't at all. There was a metal barrier on one side, cliff on the other. It was in safe hands. Oh, no, that's fine. I've said this in the last episode as well. You notice that the actual trailer can tip quite a lot on the P16 and not go over because it's the weight of the vehicle holding it. I think that makes a massive difference. P16 is heavy, extremely heavy. So for a trailer to seriously flip over and pull that with it would be a really steep cliff, I would have guessed. Whereas some of the other vehicles aren't as heavy, the Fleet Star and GMC, they're not that heavy. Hence why we had so many issues with the GMC and tipping. And on top of that, it was a top heavy load, so this wasn't heavy enough to hold it down essentially. Right, across the bridge, we're nearly at the petrol station. Just going to get up here first. We're about halfway, I would have said. Apologies, but I've just really been, as we travelled through the tunnel, I've just been hit by a wave of drowsiness. I'm just trying to get myself through it. I might try a drink and see if that helps. The time is... I'll wait till we're around the corner. I might have to wait until we get to the petrol station and get a drink, I think. Come on. The turning circle there, the P16 letting us down a little bit on that corner. Not that it's a major issue. As you see, we just roll it back a little bit and carry on. So the petrol station should be in a second. I can't do a flyby in the petrol station, so I'll probably need a drink just to keep me going. Right, round here for the petrol station. This is the problem with drowsiness. It just hits you out of the blue, and it can be debilitating some of the time. You're done after when it hits. It's so hard just to get that fun again. Right, petrol station. Grab some fuel. There we go. We're good to go. So we'll head round now until we get to the other bridge, and we'll cross that, and then we are nearly there. Trying to watch out for these tree stumps. There we go. Took that a bit wider, and yeah, the downside to that was the tree stumps being there. But I think this mission has gone really well. I don't think there's been any major errors. I don't think there's anything I look back and go, could have done that differently. There's been a few times we've done these long missions where I thought, oh, actually, if we'd done it this way, it would have been a lot quicker and easier. I think that this route we took out of Island Lake to get to the tunnel to Drummond Island, the second time of doing that today, that route was quicker. And we should have done that in the first place, I think. But other than that, I don't think there's much I'd change. Maybe not have the Fleet Star start off with the first load over here, or the load it took at least, and start off with a bigger vehicle maybe. But yeah, all in all, I think it's gone pretty well, and yeah, pretty happy. Hopefully the final logging mission will do the same. Hopefully that will go just as easily. Fingers crossed. It depends how many different changes you've got in terms of log sizes, what vehicles you can use depending on the log size and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see need to use for that. Hopefully it's a decent mix and it makes it nice and simple in that regard, but at the same time making it simple is one thing, actually getting it done simply is another. I tend to overcomplicate things sometimes. That's the thing. Right, we're getting a bit stuck in the mud here, but that was to be expected as we had this in the previous leg. I'm trying to remember where we go now. Around the corner, I think we hit the main road, don't we? So I think there's some tarmac or road coming up. And then we're taking right. And I think it's the disguised entrance to the farm, if I'm not mistaken. May need to look at the map when we get there. Does seem to be struggling more this right now. P16, the first leg didn't seem that bad, but now it also seems to be struggling. There should be no reason for it. We've got a bit of damage, but nothing significant. I don't quite know why it's struggling a little bit more, to be fair. Especially when it wasn't like this in the previous one. I'm surprised about it. I don't know what would have caused that, to be fair. It just doesn't seem to have the push it had the first time out. As you can see, we're kind of struggling up the hill here. Don't quite know why. Did we struggle on this on the first time? I'm trying to think now. I know it was only, you know, 10, 20 minutes ago, but I can't remember if we actually struggled here. I don't think we did. Which is a bit disconcerting. Although, it might be up here, was it up here that we did the multiple different winches to try and pull us forward, maybe? Although this time we're still moving. So I'm not overly worried about the winches. I think it was around here. Can we get up or are these winches? While it's moving, I don't think we need to. Unless we start really getting stuck. Oh, we're good. Yeah, apologies. I went off track. Like I said, the drowsiness is hit. And yeah, sorry about that. Just every now and then your eyes just close, and it's, yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know if it's the morphine that causes it, or if it's any of the other medication, or it's just lack of sleep. Right, this is where we've got to pick the route. So we're going to make sure we take the right turning coming up here. Okay, I think I've got it. Yeah, sorry, drowsiness again. Oh, I hate admitting it as well. It feels really weird having to admit it. It's really causing me issues. It's hit us a few times in streams, but I've managed to get round it with a bottle of Lucozade to hand and stuff like that. But I think I hide it really well in the streams. In videos, I probably struggle a little bit more to hide it because you only got a short amount of time to get what you want across. That you can't really hide it as easy as you can in a stream. But it is what it is. I can't change it. It's frustrating, but I don't think it'll change for a while. For those that aren't aware as well, next week we will have a channel update because it's the end of the month. Not too sure. Well, you'll know. See, as of recording this, I don't know when the channel update is going to be. When this goes live, the schedule would have been out this morning, and you will know when the channel update is. As of recording, I've got no clue, but it'll be out next week after this goes live. If that makes sense. Something like that. Okay, we're stuck on something. I don't know what. We're nowhere near the rock. Whatever it is, we've moved forward past it. We just got stuck for a minute there. A bit weird. We are nearly there. Let's return leg. Right, this was a dodgy cliff face that I was worried about originally, but actually, as you can see, as I said before, metal barrier now on the right hand side, cliff on the left. There's no real issues there, really, to be fair. It's nowhere near as bad as I remembered it previously, but then I could be misremembering, essentially. But yeah, not too bad at all. Around this bit as well. The farm is just there ahead of us. And don't mess it up now before we get stuck after that. Here we are at the farm on Drummond Island. We can hand this in. And that is contract complete. Aid at the island is done. And that is it for today. We're going back next time as we continue on finishing off Michigan and Drummond Island in SnowRunner. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again very soon with more SnowRunner.